First, I want to apologize for being unable to be with you today, but I want to congratulate the Seidmans, Sister Judith Ann and Governor Kasich, for winning the Project Love Goodness Award. All of you have demonstrated those qualities necessary to win this award. And again, I want to congratulate you and thank you so much for what you do for Cleveland.
Sister Judith Ann Karam is a person of highest character. She is honest, truthful, and she is very open.
We know the governor doesn't do things to win awards. He does things because he feels in his heart that they're right.
I've admired Lee and Jane in the way that they took very seriously how their contributions could make a difference.
Her character stands out as a person who can always be trusted, who is a loving person, and I'm certain that the goodness aspect certainly comes into this character business, because she is good at what she does, and she is good as she does it.
There's just a certain aura that's different when the sister's in the room. Honest, great integrity, and just a great love for people.
Sister Judith Ann Karam has been a friend of mine for a long time. I've known her for many years. She has been a fantastic leader and a fantastic president of St. Vincent Charity Hospital and the Sisters of Charity Health System. That's how I really got to know her. I was appointed to be a member of the board that she is president of Catholic Community Connection, which connects all the health-giving institutions and groups in the Diocese of Cleveland. She just retired as the president and was elected as the new head of the Sisters of Charity of St. Augustine.
Contributions to community are very wide and very varied, and what's so interesting about it's not just to one community. And she evidently has had the same enormous effect on both cities, because she's received great acclaim and great accomplishment in both cities. It's not an easy thing to do.
Well, I think the leadership that Sister shows has been demonstrated as she's been president of the health system for the Sisters of Charity of St. Augustine for many years. She's been president of the hospital, and her sisters in her own community just elected her to be their president.
She's shown her leadership in many ways. You go to all kinds of meetings, and where she excels is being in the meeting before the meeting. And that's where leadership counts, and that's where she is terrific. A woman of great, great ideas.
Sister Judith Ann, congratulations. God has blessed you with so many wonderful qualities, and this award that you're receiving today is symbolic of the appreciation that the whole community has for all the good you do.
I met the governor approximately 30 years ago, and I noticed at that point this was a man of the people. And I'm a firm believer that whenever a country, a city, a state, the world ever goes into total decline, God has seen fit always to send someone to reinstate it. And that was and is Governor John Kasich, who in my opinion will go down as one of the greatest governors our state has ever had.
Well, Governor Kasich is a leader who puts partisan politics aside and lets his heart develop his policy decisions. And an example of this is his support in Ohio of the expansion of the Medicaid program as provided under the federal health reform legislation.
I think the hallmark of the governor's character is that he inspires confidence. And that's not an easy thing to do in these days, but Governor Kasich is an inspirational person, and that comes from character that is developed over a long period of time.
His support of Medicaid expansion in Ohio will allow more than 275,000 poor Ohioans access the health care they so desperately need.
The governor's primary contribution to our community has been his leadership. He is not afraid to make difficult decisions and act upon them, and he's not afraid to do what sometimes might seem unpopular, but when it's right and when he believes it to be right, he acts upon it. And I've seen it firsthand. Here in Chardon, we had a very difficult event in February 2012 at the Chardon High School, and the governor led us and helped lead us in the path to recovery from that event in big ways and small.
John, I want to congratulate you, and I certainly cannot leave your wife out of this, because behind every terrific guy stands a wife who made it possible. I love John. I love his family.
Well, I've known the Seidmans since 2004, and since that time they've been tremendously generous to the Cleveland Clinic. They have donated more than $25 million over that period of time to support Cleveland Clinic and its causes. In 2006, they were a major kickoff for our campaign at that time, and with donating a chair in neurology.
Well, the Seidmans have set a high bar for the rest of philanthropy here in Northeast Ohio. Ironically, when you meet Jane and Lee for the first time, they are very unassuming, they are very easy to get to know, they're very engaging. In the past, they have been very anonymous in their giving and preferred to remain that way. In fact, it took a fair amount of convincing when we were talking to them about creating the Seidman Cancer Center and having their name throughout Northeast Ohio. Obviously, we came to an appropriate accommodation with them, but they don't seek the limelight.
From the minute I met Lee, one of the things I realized, he really was a innovative leader. And he really showed this in many ways. If you think about the car business was traditionally a family business passed down from generation to generation. Lee was really on a totally different model. He didn't have his name on the door. He adopted a generic name that he made into a real market leader in Northeast Ohio. He studied it, he figured out how it had to be done, and how he really could be a successful businessman. And he worked that back in his philanthropy.
Well, one of the very nice things is about the Seidmans, Lee and Jane, is that they've stepped forward and led in philanthropic activities by their generosity. They've started campaigns with leadership gifts, and they've continued right on through. So they have been major contributors in leading philanthropic activities.
That's what I've come to appreciate. It's their honesty, it's their straightforwardness, it's their affable nature, it's their willingness to embrace, it's their willingness to remain engaged. And it's just who they are as a couple that makes them so special and so unique.